Let's go. I want to believe. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ley Lines, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Team Vitality. It is the tuna himself. It is Ryung. The Dong one. Let's go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Blue Zerg representing Talon Esports, leading the series 1-0. It is Dark. Here we go. So we missed out on game 1, but we are at least here for game 2. And again, our goal is to follow this into Shin in the next round. That is the plan. Until then, it is going to be Hatch first. Hatch gas pool here by Dark, standard opener for the time being, assuming it does go for the gas geyser. Likewise, Ryung going for a Rax expand as well. Here we go. Let's catch him in the chat. Shin heap on. Let's go. I mean, Shin is a nice guy. It's beautiful. Very nice to see some supporters in the chat. As we have a Dark going to be scouting, and if you recall, I did assume it was going to be Hatch gas pool. It is not. It is a gasless opener. Dark going Hatch pool into a third hatchery. Very greedy play here by Dark. Dark does often go for this build on more defendable maps, and Ley Lines is one of them. Ley Lines, the reason why it's so defendable, ramps. There are so many ramps, so many choke points as well. It is very easy to keep up with Hellion rotations and to shut them down. So the goal here is for Dark to defend with purely Queen and then invest into Roach production. The big downside of not going for any gases is no link speed. No link speed for Dark. It can mean that it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Dark to keep up with Hellion harassment and Hellion run-bys. That is true. It could be a little bit more difficult here for Dark, but as long as he's able to keep his Queens in position, as long as he's able to keep up with the movement of Ryung, he should be fine. As Lings are being forced out by the first Reaper. Queens are on the way. So far, Dark just buying time. And so far, so good. And the Queen has arrived. Will zone back that Reaper. Ryung, he's looking for the creep tumor. Oh, he wants it. Does want the tumor. Dark, he's like, you know what? I'm just going to inject. I'm just going to inject instead. And just be safe. Meanwhile, back at home, Ryung going for a third CC before Starport. So very economic. Very economic build here by Ryung. Meanwhile, the Reaper still being active. Hellion production has begun as well. And there is going to be an opportunity. There is going to be a chance here for these Hellions to try to sneak past these Queens, get into a middle line, and roast up some drones. Oh, doesn't quite get the drone. Reaper pulls back. Does pull away. Oh, getting a drone, not bad. Oh my god, Esther Ryung. Ryung doing well for himself. Gets a drone. There's that Roach Warren on the way for Dark, as we did mention. Again, usually when you open up gasless, it is to go into Roach play. Hellions, they rotate over towards the natural, but Dark is keeping up for the time being. Is keeping up. Back at home, Ryung investing into Cloak, into Banshee, so 3cc Banshee out of Ryung. And Dark is actually getting Ling speed. It is far later, that is true, but it is still being researched. This tells us that potentially Dark could be going into Ling Roach Ravager, or yeah, just could be working towards a Ling Roach Ravager all in. We'll keep an eye on the saturation of Dark. Now 9 Roaches on the way, that's a lot of Roaches. That's quite a lot just to defend, I'll be honest. Overlord's on the way. Yo, Dark, does he intend to morph them into Ravagers? Is he going for a Ling Flood? He is. Again, this Ling speed was suspicious, and it's a 4 and all in. This does make sense. It's going to be reinforcing with Lings. Roaches, they move out across the map. The Banshee does not spot the Roaches. It's busy here at the mineral line. Doesn't spot the army. Lings, they go for the... Sorry, the Hellions, they go for the dive. They're going into the main. Oh my god. Yeah, they're rushing into the main base. Evashemi gets thrown down just in time. Darky is keeping up, and he looks down the army, mass around. Oh my god, shuts down the Hellions. The Hellions do nothing, and now Dark can focus on his all-in. I say that, Dark is actually droning. He is droning up. He's still pushing, don't get me wrong, but he runs into the Banshee. And it's been a while. It's been, I want to say, a year since I've seen Ryung go for this build. He is not just playing mech, he is going for a variation of battle mech. Fun fact. The last time we saw Ryung do this was in the previous, or 2 patches ago, in the old Cyclone, with the old Cyclone. So it makes sense that it's back, because, hey, do you see what I see? Magfield accelerators. So it is going to be Battle Mech, Hellion, Cyclone, and Mass Banshee. Hyperflight Rotors on the way. Lings, they hit the 3rd, but Ryung does pull away in time. Does pull away. Ryung holds. Ryung holds on. Dark still building up. Is still building up as we do see Ryung getting across the map. Does deny the 4th base, not too bad. Denies the 4th. Rotates back around. Darky does attempt to go for a counterattack. We can see behind this, he's still building up. We do have 1-1 upgrades on the way. We have Rush Speed on the way as well. Darky does hit the 3rd, but we have plenty of Cyclones. I say plenty, we have 3. 3 Cyclones in position. Dark healing up a couple of units. A couple of SCs are going down. But Darky won't get much done. At least Dark does confirm the mech. Oh god. As the Banshees go ham, they clean up the retreating Roaches. Nice pickups here by Ryung. This is the power of the Banshee support. Again, these are meant to be more of a supportive units more than anything. As Ryung pulls away. Behind this, building up and getting to more Cyclones, more Hellions. Setting up a counterattack, going for a run-by. And Dark, he thankfully had already invested into Roaches and has to double down on Ling Roach production. Threatens the 4th. This time, Darky holds onto it. This time he's keeping up. Saturating his bases. Still no good answer here to the Banshee. Meanwhile, how many Banshees do we have? 5! 5 Banshees for Ryung. Gaining ground. Up. Dark trying to chase him down. And now we finally have some more secure anti-air as the Banshees, they still wreak havoc on these Roaches. Hydra Den. It's going to be a Hydra Den for Dark, so Roach Hydra into potentially Lurker. Hive is on the way. Should be for Viper production. A nice movement here by Darky. Does shut down the Hellions. The attempted run-by. Darky shuts it down. Ryung gets his next base. This does also make sense here for a map pick for Ryung, now that I think about it. If you recall, I mentioned earlier that this is a very secure, very defendable map. This is why I was not opposed to Dark going for a gasless opener and going into Roaches. But here as a follow-up, this center base is very heavily fortified. This 3rd base as well is going to be very difficult to break. So Ryung is very secure back at home, and now he's going for the 4th. Once again, just applying pressure. More importantly, clearing up creep. Just clearing up as much creep as possible, making sure the Dark has no map vision, no map control. Banshees, they poke in. Dark will catch some of the Cyclones. But the Hellions, they get into the mineral line. Oh, 6 drones get roasted. Nice pickups there by Ryung. Going for the Queens. Clutch Transfuse. 1 Queen goes down. Meanwhile, we do have some Infestors coming in. They have Fungals ready. Oh, Fungal does connect. And nicely done. Locks down 2 of those Banshees. 2 Banshees finally go down. No more fumbles remaining. Ryung is forced back. Dark is holding up. Dark is barely holding on. Does that burrow, healing up his roaches. Lurker Den is on the way, so Dark is working towards Roach Hydra or Roach Hydra Lurker. And at this point, I'll be honest, I would assume that Ryung would start switching into tank production, but no, he's not stopping. Like, still purely Hellion Cyclone. He's just not transitioning whatsoever, and I'm not so sure if that's the wisest of moves. I mean, we'll see if it works out well for him. Yeah, pulling Dark apart. Dark out of position. Completely out of position. Has to pull away. Mineral line is exposed. Drones auto. They're going to get roasted. They borrow, but alas, there is a scan. Roaches, they coming from behind. Getting on top of the Cyclones. Not a bad pick up here by Dark. Does clear up a lot of Cyclones, but at the same time, there's Hellions in the main. There's Hellions here at the natural. Banshees on the right-hand side. Oh, and that's 21 drone kills. That is insane damage. Let's say 21, 23. 23 drones go down. And Ryung, he can just maintain these losses. He can sustain himself. Just keeps rebuilding, remaxing on more Cyclone, more Hellion. Finally, tank production. Finally, Ryung is going to slow the game down and is getting into tanks. He has traded out his army. He is remaxed. Up to 200 supply. Banshees are still alive. Again, the attention to detail here for Ryung. Being so attentive here with his army, with these units. And now he's pushing out with tanks. And now I'm concerned for Dark. He is not ready for tanks. What do I mean by that? No Ravagers. He's got Lurkers and Roaches, but no Ravagers are ready for this. Hellbats are morphing in. It looks like Ryung, he might just consolidate his army. He might just bring everything together. Oh, this tank line is brutal. Oh my god. Ryung, he can lay siege upon the mineral line. One queen goes down. 2 queens go down even. So Ryung does threaten the right-hand side. Again, Dark, he's on a very low economy. But he will catch out these Cyclones at a cost. Well, we'll still lock them down. Oh, the move command! Yeah, brutal move command from Ryung. Boosts every single Cyclone. Very nice catch here by Dark. But does Dark have an answer to this kind of army? And I'll be honest, we've been casting the PTR for, what, 2 months? I want to say 2 months at this point. And for the first time, we have Hydra Dash. We have Frenzy. Frenzy is being researched. I have not seen this used at all in the 2 months of casting the PTR. I've never seen it researched. I've never seen it used. I'm ready. I don't know how well it'll help against mech. I don't know how much it'll help there, but I mean, Dark, he will have it. Do see a counterattack instead. Send a base under fire. The Ravagers this time are ready. Darky does attempt to run by. Gets a tank. Dark pushing forward, going for the tanks. Oh my god, massive tank shots going up. Not a clean trade. Does get 4 tanks in the end. At the same time, you do see the counter-attacking the harassing army being forced back. Denying mining time. Ryung, he does retreat. For a moment, he does pull away. Dark now getting into Ling production, does catch out all these tanks. Oh my god! And finally, we have an answer to the tanks. It's going to be the Lings. There's the Frenzy! I don't think it was necessary, but sure. And that was cool. The tanks go down, 17 SCVs. And what was once a dire position for Dark, I mean, now he's back in this. Ooh, and where are we going? We're headed into Swarm Host production. Trying to be as efficient as possible. Worker harassing towards the left. Main army towards the right. Stormhurst building up. And I imagine their goal here is to knock down this center expansion. We'll see if they can. Local save is being thrown down a little bit further back. And can maybe get the sensor tower at least. Won't get much else. Yeah, a little bit lackluster. Doesn't get the sensor tower, gets one cyclone. Ryung is now aware. But Stormhurst do make sense against a more tank-heavy composition now. So I do appreciate how fluid Dark is being. Bleeding out more drones, still in a very low drone count. 65 drones, I mean soon to be. Like this wave coming in. Once again, gets maybe a tank. Gets one tank. I mean, it is something. That does also mean that Dark is vulnerable. Main army does break out. And Ryung, he can pull this off. Nice fungals. Stormhurst cashing out some of those cyclones. Cyclones getting picked off. Stormhurst going for some of the Hellbats as well. Again, not the worst trade. Ryung, he's pushing forward once again on top of the hatchery. Local save, he wants the tanks! He wants them! Up! Gets one! Just one. One tank goes down. Meanwhile, lurkers across the map. Oof. Do you get a tank? They deny some mining. Dark doing everything he can here to try to force Ryung back. Battles, they get one more tank. But there's still 14 tanks behind this. That's a lot of tanks. Ay, ay, ay. I'm still looking just for a better angle here for Stormhurst. Speaking of Stormhurst, going across the map instead. Ooh, bold move. I mean, this base is eventually going to go down. Looks like Dark is aware of that. Instead, he goes across the map and he wants a planetary. He wants the tanks. What does he get? One tank goes down. Does he get the planetary? He does. Planetary falls as well. Very nice pickup. Two tanks and a planetary. Dark loses one of his own bases. The miles. Oof. No major connections. Stormers getting caught out. None of them go down, just barely. As Ryung is gaining ground. And here we go. This is what I was waiting for. Stormhurst being used to defend. They should clean up every single tank here. Yeah, the tanks, the Liberators as well. Oh my god. Yeah, brutal losses for Ryung. Meanwhile, is this the main? Not quite. Orbital is denied. Darky's all over the place. We do see the Stormers are finally being hunted down, but Darky saves them. He saves some of them at least. So he keeps up with the Cyclones. Lurkers pushing in. They deny one expansion, they go for another. Catching reinforcements, trading here with the Cyclones. And Darky's getting ready here to collapse on the reinforcements, or on the army that was left alone. Yeah, Ryung has to get the hell out of here. Does have to retreat and will get away. Ooh. Will get away. Dark finally has some breathing room, but as the dust settles, I'm still concerned about the lack of workers, the lack of economy for Dark. And yeah, GG gets called. He's concerned as well. He taps out, and Ryung ties up the series 1-1. Whew, we are going to the ace match. Let's go. Let us go again. Ryung, he is a very, very unique player in his own right. He was able to flex his mech, but not just any kind of mech. This is a bit of an older school battle mech with banshees as well, of course. Ryung, he was able to pop off. He was able to overwhelm. And GG. GG, well played. Dark having a very difficult time at defending his fringe bases. Likewise, the Storm Hosts were doing really well towards the end, but in the beginning, the Storm Hosts were struggling. Remember, they killed like one Cyclone at a time, one tank at a time. It was just not too... The value wasn't quite there, and because of that, Ryung had momentum first, before eventually Dark was able to just wrangle that back, but it was still not enough regardless. He just did not have the economy to sustain himself. And now we're going to the ace match, and we could see Ryung embrace mech again.
Nothing.
Could see mech once again. As it is going to be Dark's map of choice, and where are we loading in? What will the map be? What will it be? I say that because Dark, he asked for the map in Korean, and I don't know what it is. Okay. Whispers of Gold. Whispers of Gold. And there is a world, you know, I was making the assumption earlier, like, oh, you know, we're going to get into all the ZVZs here on the stream, but there's a chance that that Ryung denies the ZVZ, that Ryung brings Dark down instead. It's possible. It is possible. Let's go. Let us go. As you can hear the beeps, the lobby is ready, of course, and we are loading into the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends on Whispers of Gold. Oh boy. And this morning, in the bottom right-hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Team Vitality. Tying up the series, forcing the ace match. Can he bring it home? It is Ryung. The Dongwon himself. The Dongwon. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg representing Talon Esports. It is Dark. Here we go. As we are going to be embracing the ace match here. Now, as we load into Whispers of Gold, unlike the previous map, unlike Ley Lines, this map is a little more open, is a little more exposed. The likelihood of you getting away with something like mech and trying to be more defendable back at home isn't as powerful as it is on Ley Lines. So I would say that Ryung would have to go for a different approach initially, but we'll see. We'll see if he does. I was not able to catch game 1, so I don't know if there was hyper aggression. I don't know if Ryung played mech or played bio. I'm unfamiliar with what happened in the first game. So we'll see how he does recover. See how and if. Meanwhile, this time, Dark catch gas pool. Yep, makes sense. Standard opener. Standard opener this time. As a reminder, last game, Dark did go for a gasless opener into Roaches. This time, with Hatch Gas Pool, this can lead into Link Speed, into a Bailey Nest, into Link Bane. Not necessarily into Roaches. I mean, both are available, both are viable, true. We'll see. We'll see where Dark does take us. As we do have Dark attempting to expand is going to be delayed here. Meanwhile, backup drone gets sent towards the triangular threat instead. So far, so good. Ryung forcing, at least attempting to force a more exposed base, but alas, won't be able to. Dark has options, and Dark, he will still get the linear threat up and running. Okay. Does still get it up. Ryung, he spots the tumor, but alas, he won't be able to do much about it. Has to retreat. And Dark does invest into Link Speed. Link Speed is on the way. Dark pulls out. Droning up. Oh. And Ryung, this time going for something more aggressive here. Do you see what I see? I see no third CC. I also see no starport, but there is a starport on the way. It is over across the map. Are we going proxy BC? Like, I'm trying to think, like, what is the reason for a proxy starport like this? I mean, technically, this could be like a Hellion drop into the main, but I'm leaning more towards potentially a proxy fusion core and a tech lab. What's it going to be? Is it going to be the medevac or is it going to be the fusion core? Oh, okay, SV leaves. Never mind. SV does leave. It is going to be not the proxy medevac, but the proxy liberator. So it's going to be Hellion harass on one end and liberator on the other. Very aggressive, very committed here by Ryung, bearing in mind that if the game goes on any longer, the starport is going to have to float back home and won't be able to make anything here as a result. And this may just turn into an all-in. We'll see if Ryung throws down something like an armory. Hellions, they move out. They meet up with the starport. Rotating over. The queens are keeping up. So far, so good. Ryung doesn't find a way in. Just testing the waters. Distracting the queens, keeping them busy. Meanwhile, Liberator does rock up in the main. Ooh, and there's no spore. The first queen is going to go down. Nice pickup. Gets one queen, gets two drones. Takes down the larva. Oh my god. This is becoming a bit much. This is getting a bit out of control. 3 drones, some larva, a queen. Hellions, they do get into the mineral line. Oh, not quite. Almost. Hellions, they pull away, and Ryung behind this is settling into bio, not mech. Stim is on the way. Extra racks as well. Third TC. Now remember, this third TC is late. It is a delayed third base. Ryung does make up for that with the damage he dealt with the Liberator. More importantly, Ryung, he keeps the Liberator alive. Still up and running. Still alive. Dark, I was hoping that maybe we could be seeing some Ling Bane. That is not the case. It is going to be Roaches once again. So once again, Roach play here by Dark. I mean, it is his go-to. It's what he does enjoy, what he does like most. And we'll see if we can embrace it. Ryung still trying to poke away at the edges here of Dark. Looking for any kind of sign of weakness. Any chink in the armor. Doesn't quite find anything yet. Ryung pulling back. Double Eva chamber for double upgrades. Ryung likewise soon to expand and take his third, and now we basically we can take a moment here to calm things down. We can take a moment, we can take a breath. Whew, we can chill. And it's been a very intense series so far, but now we're going to be calming things down and macroing at this point, saturating the third for both players. Dark eventually working towards a fourth. Eventually, I think he's going to have to kill a creep tumor here to expand. Hellions, they do poke in. More roaches are amassing. See Dark just a little bit paranoid here about that Liberator, as is that Liberator here behind the bases. Dark getting in position with all his queens, making sure he just shuts it down. Now here comes the drop play. It took a little bit longer to get this going. We have hit the 7-minute mark. 7-minute mark, and now finally we have some drops. Finally we have some Marines and some activity here on the map. Second factory already on the way. This tells us that Ryung is going to be going for extra gases and going for a fourth. He's setting up for a longer game state. He's not going for a 3-base all-in. Liberator into the natural. Queens are quite in position. And the queens were elsewhere. Liberator does go down. Meanwhile, double drop into the main. Going for the spawning pool. A bold move. He will get it. Oh my god. He does get the pull. Spawning pool goes down. Thankfully, Dark, he is embracing roach production, less so Lings. As more roaches are amassing, Ravagers now on the way. Dark is now fully aware that it is going to be bio, not mech. He hadn't scattered earlier. Ryung picking up an Overlord. Again, very nice moves here by Ryung. Scans a natural, looking for any further tech, looking for a Hydra Den, a Baneling Nest, an Infestation Pit. But Dark, he's maxed. He's maxing out on Roach Ravager with Summoning support. And he's pushing. And we spoke about it earlier, but this third base is very exposed. What do we have? We have three tanks. We have 2 tanks on low ground, 1 tank on the high ground. Dark is pushing in. And can he get on top of those tanks? He's trying to. There we go. 1 tank is going to be going down. The other tank is exposed. Boys are being pulled into the Roach Ravager. I mean, the tank line is solid, but there's not enough support. Yeah, there's not enough support. This angle of attack is just a little bit too great. It's going to be another tank falling. There's 2 tanks left. Is there high ground vision? Ooh, there is not. Yeah, no high ground vision. The 1 tank on the high ground will survive, will hold. At the same time, double jump across the map. Gets deflected. The SCVs! No! Oh my god. 17 SCVs go down. Not like this. And behind this, Dark, he's droning. He's happily droning up, happily saturating. Reinforcements have arrived. Takes down the supply depots. Now, he still doesn't have high ground vision, so he doesn't have an Overseer, so he can't really pick off that final tank. But once again, he has a greater arc here, a greater concave. Pushes on forward, takes down the low ground tanks. Files on the medivacs, sorry, on the tanks themselves. The Marines do hold their own, though. A little bit wasteful here from Dark. Oh, gets a medevac. Dark is going to be cleaned up. Ryung has a bit of momentum, but he's stuck on 2 bases. The reality here is that he's stuck on 2 bases. Dark, he's on 70 drones. He's on a 4-base economy. He's remaxing on roaches. He's getting 2-2, getting +2 range. Now, Dark, he has limited anti-air, but he still has an army to work with. Which is more than I can say for Ryung. Ryung, the pressure is on to go for some drops. We'll see what he can get done. Double drop towards the left. May now be building up on the right. You see Ryung boosting in. Boosts into the main. Gets one of the spores. Ryung is, Dark is a little bit late to respond. Otherwise distracted. 3 drones go down. So far, very nice draw play here by Ryung. Ryung, he's popping off. But Dark is about to max. He's about to re-max here for the 2nd time. And this time, what is the tank count looking like? There's only 2 tanks. Ryung is getting ready for his push. I mean, he has to. He's had enough of being the punching bag back at home. But again, he's moving into a maxed out army. Dark setting up a better surround, better concave. Catches a couple of Marines. Goes for a Roach counterattack. There's plenty of him to defend. Yeah, Darky doesn't get much done. Ooh. Oh my god. As the main armies clash, 1 tank goes down. And Dark is maxed. Dark is maxed out. The tanks stay on siege. Actually going for a Doom Drop into the main. Yeah, bold move. Does go for the Doom Drop. Does commit. It's going to be a one-way trip here. Ryung, he doesn't siege up though, which means he can't pick up. He can't lift. He can't get the hell out of here. He's going to have to. He can't fight this head on. Oh god. The tank goes down. He stims in. He commits. He's out a lot of Marines. And Ryung, he plummets in supply. That was not worth it. He traded with the army, lost tanks, lost medevacs. Still being active. I mean, Ryung, he's doing everything he can to keep Dark busy. To make sure that Ryung can expand. But Dark, he's already here. Oh, no, he was almost here. Dark, otherwise distracted. The drops, they're paying off. Working well for Ryung. Still being active. Going for the fringe bases. That's a good one to cancel. Ooh, that is a kill on the expansion. Nice snipe there from Dark. I mean, Ryung, he is slowly stabilizing. He is getting his 4th base up and running. I didn't think that would happen. I'll be honest, I didn't think he could. The 4th base is getting up. Dark's still stuck on 4 bases himself, no 5th. The 5th was killed earlier. And Ryung, he is here to make sure that that is the case. He spots the expansion. Ryung, he sims in. That's another kill. Oh my god. Dark just can't expand. And Ryung, he's catching up in supply. He's doing it. Meanwhile, Dark, he is taking into Hydras, into Hive Tech, and into Lurker Tech as well. But he's been stuck with Roaches for a long time, and he still doesn't have a 5th. And he needs one. Double Drop pulls away. Ryung still active. Gets an Overlord. Keeps the Roaches busy. I mean, these are 3/3 Marines. They can hold their own. As Darky pokes in towards the 3rd base. These aren't really too many Roaches, but you can see how little Ryung has to defend. Leaves out Lord's Marines. Roaches, they do burrow in. While trying to force a friendly fire. Dark being cheeky. He wants them. The upper. Oh my god, 12 SCV kills. Again, trying to force friendly fire from the high ground tank. Likewise, main army is going to be clashing. That's 14 workers going down. And finally, Ryung, he might just now get that 5th base. I'm going to say that. Sorry, Dark might just get this 5th base. Ryung is there to deny. Drop into the main once again. This time, Ryung, he's ready for it. Ryung is ready. Roaches are deflected. Another run by is denied. Ooh. Ravager's taking a lot of hits, but Lurker production will Lurkers are finally out. Meanwhile, the 5th base goes down once again. Dark, he just can't get his 5th. It's just not happening. He cannot expand. Frenzy finally being researched once again for Dark. Do appreciate it. I don't think it was so applicable in the last game on ley lines. I mean, we saw it once, but it didn't really help too much. Stark is being active. Getting some Lurkers in position. Moving out towards the 3rd. There is a decent tank line, but the tank line is further back. Ooh. Whilst they do connect, the ghosts have arrived and they do snipe one of those Lurkers. Ryung, he does have a much more ideal army, much more refined army. Darks, he still does not have a 5th. God, he just wants another expansion. I don't like this. As Dark, he does rotate towards the left. He does find another way in. At least try to. Oh. And nice dash there from Dark. Takes down one full medevac. Lurker's in position, but that's a lot of Marines going for the upgrades. He denies +1. +1 is denied. Dark is trying to get into a Lingbane Roach Ravager. No, he just cannot. At least Ling Roach Ravager. Vipers, they could try to shut this down. They do have full energy, but they don't go for the power bombs. Oh. Dark instead. wants to push. There's that frenzy. Simming in. Nukes on the ghost. Okay. Couple of ghosts go down. And the third base is denied. Yeah, so he's going to be falling. Dark doesn't break Ryung, but he does cripple some of the economy. Lurker's pushing in towards the left. Lurker's getting behind the mineral line. Lurker shots going off here on the ghost. Ooh. 13 SEVs. And even though the worker counts are comparable, I mean, Ryung, he just doesn't really have much left over here. He needs time to recover. He's been bleeding out too many units, doesn't have the economies to sustain, does not have a bank. Dark is maxed. Dark, he is maxed out. This one tank has been here the entire time. 35 kills on the tank! To be fair, some of them are probably SCVs, but still. That tank has been putting in a lot of work throughout the entirety of the game. Has been there from the beginning. Oh my god. Splash shots going off. But alas, there are just too many snipes. The lurkers are cleaned up. Nice down there by Ryung. Meets up the lurkers. Dark pulls away. Reinvesting into plus on melee. There we go. Baneliness in production as well. So as I mentioned before, Dark, he wants to get into Ling Bane Hydra, but he's a ways off. 12 more lurkers in production. And Ryung finally expands. Is getting his 5th. At a similar time to Dark's 5th, to be fair. It was denied for so long as well. As Dark double expands, finally Dark has some map control. No detection here for Dark, so a lot of lurkers go down. And brutal trades. But Dark's win condition is now to starve Ryung out. And he's denying this 3rd and is also denying the 5th. These bases are not getting up and running. Lurkers fan out. Medevac's still here between the bases. Medevac will escape. Likewise, Hydra's. Oh my gee. God, the lunge. They don't even get the tank. Calm down. That lunge is so intense. When it comes to the frenzy, I mean, we've seen it a couple of times, specifically this series, and again, that's the only time I've seen this so far in the PTR. It does feel like it has potential to do well when it comes to shutting down drop play, but so far, pushing into these siege lines, less so, right? It hasn't been too effective. It's not really what it's designed for. Meanwhile, bathing speed is now done. Dark is still maxed, still trying to break this position. Any of these positions. And it does feel like this base on the left-hand side is more vulnerable, true. More vulnerable than this. I mean, we have 5 tanks set up. That's a lot of tanks. But here towards the left, I do see potential. You know, Dark going for a Nidus Storm, taking more expansions, taking his entire half of the map, and then some. Is that Overseer here outside of the main, but we have plenty of turrets. There's a Ghost in position as well. Ryung, he's aware of the potential of Nidus Worms. He's getting ready for it. Dark sneaking forward with those Infestors. Pushing forward on both sides. Nice one being thrown down. Ryung still looking for a way in. Ryung, he's about to max out himself. He's been given a lot of time, I feel. I mentioned earlier, this base does feel exposed, but I mean, Dark, he never really went for it. Not yet, at least. Speaking of, there we go. Is setting up his Ling Bane counterattack. We'll see if he can get into the mineral line. Here comes the... Oh, never mind. The Infestor! Infestor gets spotted. Infestor goes down. At the same time, Ling Bane does collapse in. 19 SCV kills. This is what we were waiting for. 19 workers go down. Trading a base for a base. But Ryung is down to 33 SCVs. Barely an economy. And these ghosts, they look juicy. Does he stem in? Up! Oh my god, the lunge, not quite in time, but like this is a moment where lunge can be effective. It's catching these medevacs. It's barely not enough. I like the visual and sound effect of it though. It makes it look like the Hydra's a rabbit. Looks like they're animals, fat. So I do like it. As Ryung, once again, he is fortifying himself. He's on a low SCV count, but the army supply is heavily in favor of Ryung. Once again, there is that lunge. Nice fungal here on the main army. Oh my god, the fungal! And the fungal was insane. Massive catch. And with that, once again, Dark, he does break this position. Gets a tank, gets most of the bio, gets a kill. Doesn't quite get a kill on the CC, but it gets 18 more SCVs. And we're setting up the Nidus in the main. Using the frenzy there to get away. To appreciate. Does get the hell out of there. Bottom left. That's a kill, not a cancel on the hatchery. Nidus Storm is cancelled. Was denied. Ryung is keeping up. So there we go. He does launch in. Takes down 3 tanks. Gets the hell out of there. Pulls away. And it does feel like it's just been, you know, Ryung being worn down slowly over time. It's been impressive that Ryung has been able to hold on for as long as he has. Despite the map as well, where I do feel like there were some more vulnerabilities at some of these fringe bases. But Dark wasn't able to make full use of that. Ryung able to maintain himself, able to survive, but I mean, being active and being aggressive, like that's going to be a different story here for Ryung. Oh my god, the tanks are within range. Tanks are within range. Alright, doesn't quite push in. It's going to have an abduction, a yoink, on that tank. Ghosts are on a mission. They want the lunkers. Here we go. You see once again, Ducky dives on that last mining base. The ghosts are not here. And the tanks are exposed. That's gonna be on. That's gonna be 2 tanks going down. The base as well. Yeah, the ghosts know where they need it to be. And the Nidus Storm, it finally finishes in the main. GG gets called, the cherry on top, and Dark will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the quarterfinals. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. A very intense series between Dark and Ryung. It went all the way down to the wire. I was very impressed with how Dark was able to approach, with how Ryung was able to approach game 2 with a more old school battle mech style. Very impressive. but in the end did go the way of Dark. Dark was able to eventually stabilize. It was not easy though. It was not easy. Dark, he was bleeding out bases, bleeding out drones, bleeding out tech. It was not an easy game there for Dark, especially in that ace match, but in the end it did take it and did come out on top. GG. GG, well played. Dark will advance on into the next round, into the quarterfinals, where he has his next opponent waiting for him, his next Zerg opponent. Up next, Dark versus Shin.